My name is Quentin. I am the community manager here at Toontown Rewritten, and you may better know me as the yellow duck Quackosaurus in-game. I'm joined here today by Liv, and I'll toss it over to her to have her introduce herself.
Hey everyone, my name is Liv. I am a community representative for Toontown Rewritten, and you guys might know me in-game as Deer. She's a short, little chubby toon, and I love her very much. So without further ado, let's get started. Chances are, you might have noticed certain friendly toons in-game with strange badges floating above their heads. But what do these badges mean, and what do these toons do?
Now, first, let's ask ourselves, what is a cast member? Now, cast members are characters that exist within the lore and within the story of the game, similar to that of seeing Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse at Disney World, for example. Each cast member has their own personality, their own preferences, and their own very unique backstory. So if you see one in game, definitely go up to them and ask them, how did you become a Toon Trooper? Why did you join the Toon Resistance? Just ask them questions about their background, and they'll be more than happy to tell you. Now, there are currently two types of cast members in the game. We have Toon Troopers and Resistance Rangers. While both groups of Toons exist within the lore of the game, each type of cast member assumes a stark, different, and contrasting responsibility within the world of Toontown. So let's take a more in-depth look at each type.
So, the first type of cast member are Toon Troopers, which are denoted by the floating yellow whistle above their head. Toon Troopers assist the Toon Council with various tasks around Toontown. They can often be found in Toontown Central, the party grounds, or in a variety of playgrounds. You'll never see them in those scary COG HQs, however. They give them the creeps. Instead of fighting back with gags, they divert their efforts towards improving Toontown's neighborhoods, spreading cheer through toontastic parties, playing fun-filled minigames, or other sorts of quirky things. For example, you might have seen a recent blog post by one of our Toon Troopers, Cutie Pie, who's in charge of pie quality assurance and is hosting this year's great annual pie toss. You might have also seen her at the CCG Pie Dunk Tape event with Clef. Let's take a look at another example. I'm sure this Toon Trooper is a familiar sight. You might have seen him running around the ToonFest grounds lately. Sir Max has been a dedicated Toon Trooper for many years now and is in charge of running the Toontown blog. What we're trying to illustrate here is that Toon Troopers have a whole host of unique roles and responsibilities around Toontown. But now let's move on to our Resistance Rangers.
The infamous Resistance Rangers. So, our second type of cast member are the Resistance Rangers, who have a green floating kind of Toon Resistance badge above their heads. After all, we still need some brave Toons to fight back against those evil cogs, right? Well, you see, that's where the Toon Resistance comes in, and the Resistance Rangers come in. Resistance Rangers are members of the Toon Resistance, and the Toon Resistance is a group of Toons that embark on secret missions in COG HQs. They spread laughter and cheer through all of the silly tricks that they have up their sleeves, and they lead groups of Toons into battle. As some of you may know, showing just how Toon enough you are to a Resistance Ranger might just land you one of their uniforms, as depicted in the slide here. There's both the Cellbot and the Cashbot suit, so you'll have to look out for them. Now, Resistance Rangers report to Lord Loudenclear, a very famous Toon that you might recognize, and he's a brave Toon with lots of bark and maybe a little bit of bite when it comes to defeating the cogs. He's the leader of the Toon Resistance, a member of the Toon Council, and was actually the one who invented the cog disguise. Depicted here with him in the picture, you may recognize some familiar faces from Operation Crash Cashbot. Notably, the blue cat in the background, that is Resistance Ranger Rocky, who is actually Lord Loudenclear's second in command. So be sure to look out for Resistance Rangers all around Toontown.
At this point, you may be thinking, you forgot a badge. What's up with the blue symbol with the Toontown eyes? These symbols represent Toontown Rewritten staff members. Any member of the Toontown Rewritten team, whether they be a programmer, public relations member, moderator, artist, etc., have access to this badge and use it periodically when they're available to interact with the community and answer questions. Unlike cast members, these Toons are simply regular players just like the rest of you, who volunteer their time and efforts towards keeping the game and community running. Staff members exist outside the realm of Toontown lore, so they have understanding of what an email is, what an appeal is, etc. Staff members are always happy to lend a helping hand, or even just have a friendly chat, so never feel too shy to come over and say hi. Also, you can see depicted here, we have Quackosaurus, Quentin's Toon, and my love here.
Amazing, amazing. We love our staff members. Claps, virtual claps for all of our staff members. But now let's shift gears a little bit, right? And let's just briefly address what the future of cast member and I guess staff member engagement looks like. Some of you may remember 2 years ago, we introduced the first cast member minigame, and that was Tag. So the very popular trolley game Tag was brought into the playgrounds and can still be hosted by Toon Troopers. So as a little slight tangent, if you ever see a Toon Trooper, whether it be in the ToonFest grounds, at a party, or just in a regular playground, ask them if you can play Tag, and you can have a really, really fun game of Tag with the Toon Trooper. Now, this update was the first major addition for cast members, and there hasn't really been anything added since. Now, while we don't have anything in the works just yet, we do have several ideas floating around that may very well lead to something in the future. For example, wouldn't it be cool to meet cast members like Flippy and Lil Oldman more often? I know that these cast members have been out and about this week, so what would it be like to meet them more often? What about introducing cast members that we haven't seen yet, like bringing Barnacle Bessie to life? What does that look like? What character, what personality would Barnacle Bessie have? So we're always thinking of ways to expand cast member interaction. Perhaps a question and answer session with a Toon Trooper on our Discord server. Maybe ask Flippy some questions, things like that. So like I said, we're always thinking of ways to expand cast member interaction. We also want your ideas. So if you have any ideas on how we can be engaging better with the community and with players, whether it be on our cast members or on our staff members, feel free to send us your feedback either via email or via our Discord server, and we will do our best to incorporate it. Now, that's it for the presentation segment of the workshop, short and sweet, as I like to say. We'll now take some questions in the Twitch and or YouTube chats, so drop some questions in there. While we wait for the first few questions to come in, I've been wanting to do some myth busting. So one myth I'm going to bust today is something I see fairly regularly, which is people assuming that the Resistance Rangers have to give out the suit that they're wearing. So, for example, if you see Resistance Ranger Rocky and he's wearing a Cellbot Cog Crusher outfit, can he or can he not give out the Cashbot Cog Crusher outfit? The answer is yes, they can. The outfit that they wear actually has no significance into the suit that they're going to be giving away. They do only give one suit away at a time. So if you see that a Resistance Ranger is giving a Cellbot outfit, for example, that same Ranger won't be able to give you a Cashbot outfit for that day. You might need to go find them another day. You might need to look for another Ranger. But that is the myth that I wanted to bust. Just because they're wearing one outfit does not mean they can't give the other one out. So definitely ask them which one they're giving out, which one they've got with them today. And yeah, show some love to your cast members.
Thanks for that, Quentin. So getting started, we have a couple of questions coming in, and I'm going to ask the first one. From Queen Jessaby, we have, can a Toon Trooper come to my party?
Absolutely. Yes is the answer. We try to keep, Toon Troopers do try and keep an eye out on parties that are being hosted. One thing that we're not doing enough of and that we will be doing more in the future is, for example, Toon Trooper holiday parties. I know they're a bit of a joke within the community. There's even a speed chat phrase, did you know, that says the Toon Troopers are hosting parties. And so we will be hosting Toon Trooper parties this winter as well. But we do look for Toon Troopers rather look for parties that they can go to. But the answer is yes, they can.
From Sinful, we have, are you guys still hiring for cast or staff positions?
That is a very, very, very good question. So another thing I want to address kind of in answer to this question is we don't directly hire for cast members. So cast members are played by any staff member on the team. So what that means is by getting on the team at all, whether you be working as an artist, whether you be working as a support representative, whether you be working as a sound designer, any and all of our staff members have the opportunity to play cast members. That's another frequent question we get, is that how do I apply to be a cast member? Unfortunately, right now you can't apply to be a cast member, so you just need to apply to be a staff member on the team. And then once you're on the team, we can show you the ropes and get you set up with some cast members. But, oh, sorry, second half of that question. I was getting ahead of myself. Second half of that question, we're still hiring for staff. We always hire for staff. You can check out the vacant positions on toon.town/apply.
Awesome. From Justin Johnson, we have, if I meet a staff member, will they accept my friend request?
So that's a great question. I'll start with saying cast members can't accept your friend requests, unfortunately. So if you meet a Resistance Ranger or a Toon Trooper, they won't be able to accept your friend requests simply because Toon Troopers and Resistance Rangers are also subjected to that 100 friends limit, right? And it would be unfair for them to be able to friend some people, but not be able to friend some other people. So cast members aren't able to accept your friend requests. Staff members are allowed to, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the individual staff member and whether or not they want to keep their friends list strictly to other staff or just their close friends, etc., etc. So staff members can friend regular players, but it's up to the cast member. It's up to the staff member at the end of the day.
From Madam Letter E, we have, will staff members be seen more around Toontown during the ToonFest?
Yes, absolutely. We had 2 days this week, Tuesday and Thursday. The staff and cast members were out in full force. We will do another push for the last few days. Obviously, ToonFest at Home is bringing itself to a close tomorrow. But I'm sure for the rest of ToonFest, Toonest, staff members and cast members will be out and about. So definitely keep your eyes open for them.
From Toon Deer, we have, are you guys going to be hosting any more themed events rather than ToonFest, Halloween, and Christmas?
Any themed events? That is a great question. To be honest with you, I don't think we've thought about themed events. What we have been talking about is how can we bring back other events from Toontown Online. So I know Toontown Online had a golfing tournament, a fishing tournament, a racing tournament, and so what we do want to figure out is how we can bring those events back, but involve cast members in them as well. For example, as Liv mentioned earlier in the presentation, QT Pie, the Toon Trooper, is kind of hosting this year's annual pie toss. So we do like to kind of weave cast members into the story and into events where possible. But themed events, that's a great idea. I don't think we've talked much about that at all.
From Paul W389, he asked, can we see any Toontown YouTubers or popular influencers in the community with badges?
So we have the community partner program, is what I'll say first and foremost. What we do have for our partners is an ID. So if you open the GAG panel of any cast or staff member, you will see that it will either say cast member or staff member. Next update, so in the 2.7.0 update that we talked about on Behind the Tooniverse, excuse me, last Sunday, their IDs will change to read community partner. So while they won't have a badge, we didn't want to confuse between official staff members and representatives of the game and, popular players. We didn't want to have any confusion there. So the compromise that we came to, because we didn't give them a badge, is a unique Toon ID. So you can still identify Toontown partners and famous players that way.
From Sam Wilson, he asked, how often are cast members out and about?
That's a very good question as well. I know I'm saying that all of these are great questions, and that's because they are. But how often are cast members out and about? So let's start with Resistance Rangers, because Resistance Rangers is kind of a simple answer. Well, the simple answer is anytime and all the time. So cast and staff members can literally come out whenever they choose. However, there are certain times of the year and certain events where you're more likely to see one. So, for example, if there is a mega invasion in the game, a mega cog invasion, for example, the resistance rangers are more likely to come out. If there's ToonFest going on in game, or if there's holiday parties and things like that, you're more likely to see Toon Troopers. So at the moment, I know Toon Troopers are out and about quite frequently celebrating Toonest. So you'll see them quite frequently. Staff members, we play the game, honestly, as much as we can. We enjoy it, playing it just as much as you do. We don't always have the badges on, because it can be quite overwhelming and quite tiring. But in answer to the question, we try to get cast and staff members out as often as we can.
Super Mouse asked, is it possible anymore to see sign tunes around in game for players to meet? I haven't seen one of them as a cast member for a long time.
That is a again, that would be, I'm going to divert back to the future of cast members, right? Like when I talked about what would it look like to introduce Barnacle Bessie as a cast member, right? And to bring her to life, for example. What would it look like to bring the Scion Toons to life and bring them out of Toon Hall for once and walking around and interacting with people? I do know, I believe it was many, many years ago now, before I joined the team, I do believe Dr. Surly was walking around sometimes and interacting with people. And we haven't seen him in a while. So maybe we can, I will pass a message along to you, to the Scion Toons, letting them know that they should get some fresh air. They should leave Toon Hall. And yeah, we'll see what we can do.
King of the Cart asked, will there be any more Resistance Rangers in the future? The Lawbot raid was really fun.
Yes. The answer is yes, there will be. But I don't want to set any expectations as to when that should be. There will absolutely be a Lawbot operation, but don't forget there was 4 years. I think I'm correct on that. There was 4 years between Operation Storm Cellbot and Operation Crash Cashbot. And as you know, Operation Crash Cashbot was last year in 2019. So while there will be a Lawbot operation, we haven't even begun thinking about what that would look like yet. So don't get excited for it too yet. But yes, there will be more.
Adorkable asked, how do the Resistance Rangers recruit new members?
So that is a very, very good question. So the answer is join the Toontown Rewritten team. By joining the team, you will have the opportunity to make your own Resistance Ranger. And honestly, we give our staff members so much creative freedom over creating their Resistance Rangers. The only limit is they have to wear the uniform. So they have to wear either the Cellbot or the Cashbot Cog Crusher outfits. But beyond that, you can customize their name, their appearance. Some of you might have realized that some of our cast members have pretty wild gag setups. I know we've got some squirtless cast members, squirtless Resistance Rangers. We've got a Toon Trooper that only has like level 5 gags. And you can do that as well. You can have crazy laugh and crazy gag setups. But in answer to how do we recruit more people? The answer is by joining the team. Yeah.
Banana Muffin asked, a question I have got. Does your main language have to be English to apply for something like moderation?
I believe so. I believe it has to be your... Yes. I wasn't expecting to get asked application questions today. I believe the answer is yes, but it may be worth shooting an email into support just to make sure, because our support folks can pass you on to one of our hiring managers who can, give you a more in-depth answer on that. But I believe the surface level answer is yes. You need to be, it doesn't necessarily have to be your primary language, actually. I think you just need to be proficient. Yeah, there we go. So you need to be able to speak English and be proficient in English, but it doesn't have to be your primary language.
Butter asked, is it possible to see Lord Loud and Clear walking around Toontown someday?
That is a very topical question, actually, because anyone who attended the ATA Chief Justice, Open Chief Justice event, the Open Chief Justice event that they hosted the other night, Lord Loud and Clear did actually make an appearance to that. and there was about 150 Toons crowding around outside the Lawbot Chief Justice's door lobby doors even. Yes, I'm sure we can bring him out more often. I know we were planning on doing, some of you may remember, during the start of quarantine, we were going to be having a Resistance Ranger weekend, and we tried to host an event, and we were going to have so many Rangers out there, but unfortunately it got cancelled because we encountered some server issues. We were hoping for Lord Loud and Clear to make an appearance at that event, because I know he doesn't really make appearances. But in the future, I think what we've learned moving on from that event is it is better if we do it unannounced. I know that's not very helpful for some people, and I know that means some people will miss these type of things. But yes, I think we can see Lord Loud and Clear out more frequently.
McZoop asked, could there be exclusive clothing or outfits from each cast member similar to what Club Penguin did with their mascots?
Mm-hmm. So if I remember correctly, with Club Penguin, you got backgrounds. I remember meeting like Rock Hopper or whatever and getting a background for my penguin. But so right now we have the Resistance Rangers that give out suits, as some of you may know who have met them. I don't know if we'll introduce them for Toon Troopers. I'm really not sure. I think we need to, what we don't want to happen, let me tell you what we don't want to happen. We don't want cast members to lose their kind of uniqueness and people just see them as people who can give them clothes. Like I said, cast members have their own unique story, their own unique traits and personalities. And sometimes when playing Resistance Rangers, we feel that gets lost because people only see us as a chance to get these outfits. They don't see us or see these Resistance Rangers for anything more. And so I guess the question is if we were to have, for example, Toon Troopers give out items, how do we maintain that personality, that uniqueness about them, so that's not lost and they just become another kind of item giver? So I'm not sure, but it's something we've talked about. I know we've talked about that, and I guess we'll just have to see where that leads.
Building off of that, Bulldozer Studios asked, will there ever be a chance to get the outfit the Looney Labs Toons wear as a task reward?
What? Great question. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I know that we are we're wanting to work on an expansion to the Silly Meter at some point, and perhaps during that expansion, that could be a Toon Task reward or some other reward. But as of right now, there are no plans to release that. But maybe in the future. Great question.
From AC Jack, though not exactly a cast member question, we have, how do you make the deer and alligator sound effects?
So they were recorded by, well, one of them was recorded by a now former staff member, and the deer, I've forgotten what they go by, but basically it was two players, believe it or not, who, from my understanding, kind of not interviewed, but auditioned, that's the word I'm thinking of. They auditioned, and the crocodile noises, as I said, came from one of the former artists on the team, Tenny, and I want to say the person who did the voice of the deer is Mac, but I might be I might be mistaken there. But yeah, very talented people, and we thank them.
That's all that we have on our end. It sounds like everyone's got questions over with.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming to the cast member workshop. Before you hit that red X, I do want to plug the Toontown Online Developer Reunion, which is going to be here, live streamed in 2 hours. Hang on, no, 1 hour, not 2 hours, 1 hour. 2 p.m. Toontown time. We'll be back, and Joey sits down with 4 or 5 rather, Toontown Online developers to hear their takes on Toontown. So definitely check back in an hour. But thanks again from both myself and from Liv, and we hope you enjoy the rest of ToonFest at home.